contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Dale.
Evening, sir.
Welcome to the Art of Argument, where Dale and I argue. What a fun premise for a show.
Hey, gotta ask you a question.
Huh.
What's the name of the song that was playing? Because that's one of his that I have not heard, and that was pretty darn good.
One of whose?
The guy that does Sweet Caroline.
Oh, that was Neil Diamond.
Yes, that was actually, I've heard a bunch of Neil Diamond stuff. Never heard that one before. I actually liked it. And I could have swore I heard like down low, like you singing along with it. But maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, you heard it. I was singing along with it. That's why that song got played before we started.
Busted.
That was
Yeah,
called
you went live.
That was called Cracklin' Rose. Or Cracklin' Rosie.
Okay, that's a good tune.
And you're right. I was singing. I wanted you to know why it was so taken so long, because I was sitting there singing to it.
Yep, you're like, I'm letting this one end.
Damn straight. It's tough. It's tough to be a king. So anyway, what are we going to argue about tonight? Let's do the Steelers first. Or we could do the Browns.
What do you want to argue about?
Oh.
The Steelers are going to beat the Browns? I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, other than that, I couldn't tell you anything. I don't know who they drafted. I don't know, shit.
What would happen if the Steelers, or if Cleveland took...
I'm more of a follower than a fan.
What would happen if the Browns took both games? Where would you be then?
It would be upsetting, but
besides looking for another
as long as they did well the rest of the season, it wouldn't matter.
I'll tell you what, I watched the Browns game the other night, and my tolerance for idiocracy anymore with football is I'm less and less tolerant of it. Right now, as it sits, I think that in the art of trying to better the game and make it safer, I think they're destroying it piece by piece. This crap with this new kickoff rule, or this kickoff thing where they put the guys 5 yards apart and nobody's allowed to move until they touch the ball or tilt until the ball's caught. What a bunch of crap.
Okay, after you brought that up, I wanted to ask, because I've heard like little bits and pieces on the radio, but I didn't know exactly what the rule was. And it sounds like it's pretty ignorant from what you're saying.
On kickoffs and any kind of punt returns, there are rules now. With the punt returns, if it drops in, if it's a touchback, it comes out to I think it's a 35 or 25. If it lands in this one zone, it's not grounded there anymore. They bring it out to the 20. And the rules are bullshit. That's all there is to it. What's
the point in having a good punter?
They're making this game idiotic, and I'm not a fan of it. I think they should go back to the way it was, at least as far as the punt returns go. Kickoff from the 35, and if it goes into the end zone, fine. If it don't, at least you've got some chance of running it back. This run back stuff now, I think there's very little chance of it happening. You're not going to have somebody in the end zone come out when they can just take it to the 30 or take it to the 25 anyway. It's just I'm not a fan. And to me it's trying to pussy up the game. To be quite
That
honest.
punt thing drives me nuts. Because, I mean, if I can kick a ball and bury you on the 1, that's my job as a punter.
Yeah.
I mean, I should be able to do that.
The,
And then this, what, on a kickoff, you're saying the guys up front are not allowed to move?
they are not allowed to move
catches the ball.
until there's a hand on the ball. Yep.
So, what, is that supposed to keep somebody with a full head of steam from hitting them?
Yep.
Is that basically what that's all about?
Yep, I think so.
Well, go play tennis then.
And that's exactly right. And I think that the fans need to take and tell this idiot Goodell or whoever the hell's.
Shuffleboard is an Olympic sport now, isn't it?
Yeah, it should. I don't know. I never watched 10 seconds of the Olympics. I was against that. I was against that. I was against when they pulled what they did in the opening ceremony. That completely destroyed my.
Well, I can't say that. Can't say I didn't. I did watch one swimming race because I have a coworker that is very big into swimming because her son got full scholarship for swimming and whatnot. And that French guy that was breaking all the records and getting all the golds.
Yeah.
Was her son's roommate for quite a long time.
Oh, that's cool.
I watched him race before the Olympics, and holy smokes. So I had to watch him race again, and he just dusted everybody.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that Olympic thing was to me, it was a joke. When you turn half your audience off in the opening ceremony, that's stupid. And I don't care what they
do you
profess
see how many people didn't care? Were just like, okay, yeah, that offends me, but I'm still going to watch the Olympics.
No, this one.
I mean,
because
it's kind of like, you know what?
And I usually
the whole Bud Light thing, it pissed me off. But if I went somewhere and that was, it was like a Bud Light or some of these really dark beers, I'm going to drink the Bud Light as long as the individual wasn't on the can. I was cool with it, but I still drank the beer because out of necessity,
Yeah. Well, I guess to each his own. But to me, it was just I hadn't wanted no part of that. So I didn't watch it. And I usually, when the Olympics are on, I'll probably, if it's on, depending on what time it is, if it's on during the, like a Sunday afternoon, I might watch it for an hour or two. Not this time. I didn't want to watch it. And the way they ended it, from what I saw, Tom Cruise vaulted into the Olympic Stadium on a wire and got on a motorcycle and took the Olympic flag, got on a motorcycle and ran to a plane and then parachuted into into Los Angeles. And I get from what the clip I saw said that it took them a year and a half to plan it and get it done. But Cruise did all his own effects and that. I still don't have much respect for that clown, since this was years ago when he was acting like an idiot and going on all the TV shows he got on. I'm being distracted here. Hang on. Somebody's at the front door.
Pearl.
And of course, nobody's at the front door. Now, ain't that interesting? Oh, well, let's go back to it then. Anyway, when it got, he vaulted into the Olympic Stadium, landed, jumped on a motorcycle, grabbing the Olympic flag, and then jumped out of an airplane into the new venue for the next Olympics. Well, I guess in 4 years, it's going to be in Los Angeles. Good for them. I may watch it then if I'm still here. But anyway, that one of them things, I guess. So what are we going to argue about tonight? I'm ready for a good argument. Wait, let me take a sip of my water here. So I'm really.
Well, I love it how you said you were setting up because you got politics and fangs. You weren't letting a rabbit out the cage, were you?
Nope, not a chance.
Well, here's what I got. I am just curious, your opinion. Why is it that your girl, Kamala, is terrified of the media? Which we all know the media loves Democrats. Why is it she won't sit down for an interview? She won't answer any questions. Like I saw a clip today where she was getting ready to get on, what do they call it, Air Force Two, to go somewhere. And she walks up, she pulls off her glasses, she goes, "What you got?" And they ask her a couple questions, and she basically didn't answer any of them, and then turned around, walked away, got on the plane. Is she trying to be out amongst the people a bit, but yet hide in the basement like Sleepy Joe did, and just hope that if she doesn't open her mouth too much, and she keeps talking about her prosecutorial career, whatever the hell it was,
well, people are going to get tired of
everything's going to be okay because she can't fuck up nothing.
I'm not sure where she's coming from there. I really don't. I would. You have to take into account that some of this is uncharted territory. If you want to consider that, at least for her, and the race and everything like that. I'm not sure how to say that without offending somebody, but
that's what we're here for. Offend someone.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say. That's what we do.
If you consider, I think she's just not wanting to screw anything up, and it will probably change after the convention next week. I really kind of think that's
because the honeymoon's almost over.
What do you mean by that?
Well, she's getting this little bit of surge in the polls because obviously Biden's not there. Okay, so she's looking a little bit better. Now, mind you, Trump's numbers have not changed really, and it's still, you could call it fairly even, depending on what poll you want to watch. I mean, we all know how well those work.
The last
Just
poll
ask
that I
Hillary
heard.
about the polls.
The last
But, you have this, but once people finally, and I don't know if the debate's going to make a difference, once they finally listen to her, stammering up on stage because you don't know what the hell to say, you're going to see this honeymoon period start to fade, and people start going, wait a minute, women don't know what the hell she's talking about. And then this jackass she's got running with her, he ain't much better. Now, I know you're going to say something about J.D. Vance, and I've even, been doing a little research, and some of the comments he's made in the past, I draw into question myself. believe it or not. But as we both know, we can go back as far as we want to. Vice presidents really are not, they don't do shit. They do a little bit here and there, but they don't do shit. So him being a
job
dickhead,
isn't
I'm
really
not
to
worried
do
about.
anything.
I would never want him to be the president. Absolutely not. I would never want him to be the president. But he might make a good vice president.
I gotta fix something here.
I thought you were trying to cover my mouth.
There, that's better. No, that's not it either. Dang it. I like to be in the center of the screen, and I guess that's good.
Well,
enough.
I am too, but then I like to lean over in my chair, and then it changes.
But I don't really think that as far as vice presidents go, I think both of them are jackasses. Be honest about it. And they're one heartbeat away from taking over the country.
Yeah.
I had heard several people, but they are, of course, on the other side, Republican wise, saying that they wouldn't ever want Kamala Harris in there. But I think she's got, to be honest about it, I think she's got about the best chance now of anybody that's run. She doesn't have the baggage that this certain other one that ran, that almost won, had.
You got that border baggage.
Well, that's not email baggage. That's not computer baggage. That's
yeah,
not,
but see,
and that's what beat Hillary. Hillary was, let's admit this. Hillary looked crooked, and she probably was, but
exactly.
Bill was too. And that, you're a politician. You're likely crooked anyway. You're likely crooked anyway. But without that baggage, it seems like she's got a little bit of a chance. That's all I'm saying.
But is terrified to open her mouth.
No, I don't know.
Like
about
I said,
that.
she keeps repeating the same speech
over
and over.
The whole thing of it is that if you listen to her speech, Dale, and it's like a lot of what Trump is saying too. It's party line. It's got nothing to do with her feelings or what she's actually going to do. She's following the party line and saying what the party wants her to. And that may be why you're thinking some of it is a little bit of a stammering in that, because she's...
Oh, well, you don't think that she's not being run by others just like Joe was?
And
like people fear Trump. That is why Trump is feared. Because there is nobody going to run him and tell him what to do.
Bullshit.
Like you see occurring in the
bullshit.
They
were running him. They were fucking running him when he was president. When all that crap with that COVID started and all that, and him going and I'm going to take and go get a photo shot over here, and we got to take and take this take this down because we got to go get a Photoshop or a photo shoot over by the monument over there. Bullshit. If you get in an office like that, you're run by your party. There ain't no question about that. Don't be fooled by that. Oh, no comment. I must have hit it.
No, it's I must have hit a nerve certain here. Things that they're asking you to push and whatnot. But I mean, seriously, for the last 4 years, do you actually think Joe has been running the country?
No. Party has.
Exactly. And you see how bad they fucked up, right?
Yeah, so kind of.
Okay.
But I'm not.
And I respect you for at least
admitting
that.
I'm not so much sure how much better it's going to get.
But yet you're willing to put your money on the same individual that was hanging out with him during all this shit and think that everything's going to be sunshine and fucking rainbows if she gets elected?
That's always different.
I mean, how full of shit are you?
It's always different when you change a politician like that. It
Oh,
may.
so what? She gonna just listen to different shit? She just gonna speak about it differently?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same road.
What's going to happen?
It's carrying us down the
what's
same road.
What's going to happen when you? What's going to happen when you put a Republican back
in your granddaughter's bathroom, and the world of men walking into the bathroom to take a shower or take a piss with your granddaughter?
Here we go.
That's what you prefer? That's what you like? Really? Would you like that with your daughters? I mean, at least they're old enough to whoop their ass, but, you know, I mean, maybe your granddaughters might whoop that ass too. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But, I mean, do you want that? Is that what you're looking for? That's not
what they're standing up for,
Are you looking
Dale?
for an economic downfall and inflation through the roof? Is that what
I disagree with
you enjoy?
I disagree with
because you don't like Trump that much.
I disagree with. I'm afraid of Trump. There's not dislike there. I'm fucking afraid of him.
What's there to be afraid of?
He's gonna fuck the country up. He tried to take the goddamn country over. He tried to tell you that your vote didn't count.
It didn't.
Bullshit.
If you don't see that election was freaking rigged,
bullshit,
then you're just
I
not
need a bullshit button.
Hit the bullshit button all you want, but
bullshit.
Come on, there are too many things proven to say otherwise.
Bullshit.
Now maybe it wasn't enough. Who knows? But there were some very nefarious things going on. And then
there was nefarious things going on with Trump too.
Criminal justice system being turned against him simply for the fact of trying to make sure he couldn't run for office again. Yeah, that's Biden's people. And that was Biden giving them directions to do what they did. And that's not election interference?
Then why did Roe versus Wade get turned over? You think that was Biden? Why did Roe versus Wade get turned over? Do you think that was Biden?
Because your Supreme Justices decided
Trump
those things needed to be turned over to states' rights.
Those two idiots in there that shouldn't have even voted on the damn thing.
You know what? You're the first person, along with 150 million others, that will sit here and say, I want the federal government out of my business. The federal government needs to be out of my business. The federal government can't tell me I have to take a shot. They can't tell me this. They can't tell me that. But when it comes to abortion, I think the federal government should tell me what I'm allowed to do. Hey, you can't cherry pick it. You can't cherry pick it. All they did was they did not overturn Roe versus Wade. They took it out of the hands of the federal government and turned it over to the states. Now, if you don't like the state you're living in because of the rules they've come up with, pick up your shit and fucking move.
And that's what a lot of people
That's what they've turned it into.
That's about what
you're going to have states that are very much against it, and you're going to have states that are very much for it. And that was the way they feel that it was meant to be. That individual states had the right to choose how things should be conducted in their particular state. If you want an abortion,
when the states decided before Roe versus Wade, which would have been about 65, because Roe was in for almost 50 years. Back before that time, let me tell you what it was like back then. I remember I was probably 14, 15 years old when Roe was passed. And about half of the population, mostly women, were petitioning the government to make this federal law that that said that you can have an abortion. You have the right to that. Now, before this, when the states were controlling this, which most states, even Ohio, had an abortion law that wouldn't even allow you to have an abortion if if the lady was raped or anything like that. In order to get an abortion, you had to find somebody that virtually knew what they were doing, or you didn't get one. Or you had to fly to one of the countries that allowed it, that allowed the stuff. And when you started looking at that, Rosie, enough. Sorry about the background here. You had the most of the states in the United States had an abortion law, had abortion laws, and you weren't allowed to do them. Most of them were so strict that they wouldn't allow somebody that was raped to get one, or if there was some sort of a medical problem with a woman, it was tough luck. You suffer it out. And that's why Roe versus Wade was passed, one of the big reasons. And all of a sudden they start lumping all this stuff into it with this whatever. If you waited too long to get and a lot of this was conjecture, and a lot of it was probably
the heartbeat laws and different things like that.
A lot of it was probably true. But what it come down to is in order for in some states to get abortions, they had a flipping abortion clinics in garages back. If you want to go on back the house there, hit the backyard and knock 3 times on the garage door, and they'll open it, and you can go in and get yourself one. And I can't tell you the way that some of the stuff was conducted was there was no surgical thing there. The coat hanger and
listen, I totally agree with you.
And so that's why. No, wait. Let me finish this thought for a second, okay? When they took and did, knowing all of this, like I do, when they took Roe versus Wade away, that's the first thing that popped into my mind. I don't want to see somebody have to go to a basement or go to a garage to get to have an abortion or something like that. And that would have been the same way if they take control of that day after pill. It would have been the same thing. You have to. When you're old like me, you remember this shit, and you don't want it to happen again. That's one of the reasons. And I've always thought a woman has a right to do what's right for her own body. I've got the right to do what I want. If I want to go to a doctor and say, "Hey, do this to me," I got the right to do it. You've got the right to do it, and everything else. You've got the right to any medical procedure that you want to have done. But Roe, if you take and put this thing back to the way it was in 1965, you're not going to have that.
That's your problem. That's your problem. It's not going to go back.
But there is a possibility. There's a possibility
it's
of it.
2024 right now.
There is a possibility.
The medical field.
There's always a possibility.
Has moved a long way. Let me explain to you what Roe versus Wade did. Okay. Now I follow you with the rape and brutalities and
incest also.
Incest and different areas where women are being violated. Okay. I understand that. I get it. I totally get it. But now, one, medicine has come a long way from coat hangers around the corner to how things are taken care of today. Now, what has happened was Roe v. Wade opened the door for Planned Parenthood, which the last thing Planned Parenthood does is help people plan for parenthood. Most of what they do is schedule abortions to nothing more than take away parenthood. So what we've done is we've made abortion a convenience for people that's how many different ways of birth control are there out there? Well, I don't want to use any type of birth control, so I'm just going to do what I want to, and then, hey, I can just go kill the baby. I can just go kill the child anytime I want to, because the federal government says I can go kill somebody anytime I want to. Now, if a child, if that is not considered a life, why is it if someone I know is pregnant and you kill them, you get convicted of 2 counts of murder? Because from what you guys are telling me, well, that baby don't count. It's nothing. It's nothing. So it should be 1 count of murder. So why is it that the mother can kill the baby, but no one else can? And we have all these ways of birth control, but we allow abortion to be not a thing to solve issues and help people, but we make it a convenience for others, like the drive-through to go pick up a 6-pack of beer. That's what it's been turned into. So you have to kind of, and I get you. I know what was going on back in the day. Okay. And it was very nasty and it was very scary. And a lot of girls didn't even make it through that. But nowadays, with the medical stuff that we have now, it shouldn't even come to a point where a young lady would have to go through those types of turmoils to end a pregnancy if it were so fit. I mean, we all say, do the crime, do the time. If you're just out there spreading your legs free willy, and you get pregnant, you shouldn't be able to walk down the road and just cha-ching, put a quarter in the fucking meter and go get yourself an abortion because you decided it wasn't convenient for you.
decided.
Well, you should have thought about birth control.
I agree with you 100. Well, believe me, I'm part of this. I agree with you 100%. Mark that one down on a calendar. I actually agree with you on something.
Listen, I'm not a demon.
But
I am not a demon.
It
says a woman doesn't have a choice over her body.
And you mentioned Planned Parenthood there a minute ago. And
yes, I did.
That's
going to get me in a lot of trouble, but I don't care.
From the get-go was a bullshit program. Because
absolutely.
They were Planned Parenthood was supposed to be doing is doing just exactly what you said, helping people plan for parenthood. They took when the government did what they did, they gave the Planned Parenthood people the right to do the abortion thing, and that's what it all turned into.
It was bastardized.
And that's what it turned into. Was it right? I don't think so. I never have. Was it anything that could have been controlled by any other kind of laws? Probably. But I can see doing away with the current version of Planned Parenthood and making the abortion thing the very last result.
But why is it when we talk about abortion, we automatically go to, my right to my body, blah, blah, blah. And okay, I get it to a certain extent. But the whole conversation is about abortion and the women and this and this and this. Why does birth control never come up in the topic of conversation? There are 101 ways for a woman to prevent herself from getting pregnant if she so chooses. All she has to do is choose to use them and use them properly.
Unfortunately, the way the system is, unfortunately, some of these women don't do that and they get knocked up.
Okay, now that's their fault. That is the fault of them.
But
Planned Parenthood, you can go get free prophylactics.
But
you can get whatever you need.
But do you change the
you can
complete
get these
laws?
things. You can get the help you need.
But do you change the complete law
but we choose not to use it?
In order to take and stem some of this?
Because we can just go down the street and get a fucking abortion. It's easier to kill a kid than to prevent the kid from being conceived to begin with.
And then you have
That's the thing. It's easier to kill a child than to prevent the child to begin with.
Then you have to start wondering why. I lost my train wrecked here. You have to take and consider the reason that some of these women are squirting out 8 and 10 kids at a time, which is wrong to begin with. What it comes down to is a lot of the stuff back in I was describing back before Roe v. Wade. The ghettos and that were terrible in this country. Some of them still are. If you go into some of the ghettos of like Chicago and that used to be called Haight-Ashbury. I don't know if it's still there or not. But some of the real ghettos, even in the New York ghettos, life in those things is horrid. And personally, if you're a mother that's squirting out kids like that, and all of a sudden somebody says you can get an abortion, you won't have to worry about it, and you're still making $100 in 15 minutes. You can go ahead and make that again, not worry about it. Just if something starts, just go get it taken out. I'm trying to come down to a point.
So what you're doing here is you're actually especially with what you just said, you're helping my cause. Because you're explaining exactly the types of things that I'm complaining about.
I suppose
I get it.
I suppose that
rape and incest. I get it.
Somewhere along the line here, we're actually starting to agree on stuff. Heaven forbid, it's going to end this show.
Oh, you're starting to.
I'm starting to become a Republican. Jesus.
You have been for weeks since we started this show. You've been becoming a Republican. You just don't know it.
No,
I mean, you ain't like a right winger.
I'm a freelancer.
I mean, but damn, you have a lot of conservative views.
I'm a freelancer on a lot of it.
I'm not totally against abortion. I'm against making it so simple that you can go out and spread your legs every 13 seconds, and anytime you get an inconvenience, you just go get rid of it. Just that simple. You go get rid of it. You take a live child and you get rid of it. Because, and then there's even been talk about giving birth to kids and then killing them afterwards. I mean, come on. There's been talk about that in some states. It's not right. When we have all the medical stuff that we have now, and we have all the birth control available to ladies, they want a choice over their body. They have a choice to use birth control, but they decide that they don't want to. All you have to do is choose. If you don't want a child, choose to use birth control and do it correctly. And 9 chances out of 10, you're not going to become pregnant in the first place. So therefore, we don't even need abortion clinics because people are taking the proper steps ahead of time to prevent pregnancy. Like I said, we've turned abortion clinics into a convenience. I can go do whatever I want, and as a man, I can go do whatever I want. I have no responsibility. I'll just give the girl $50 and send her down to the corner and get everything taken care of. Men need to step up too. Okay, men need to step up and take care of their business.
Oh, I
Do the
agree.
crime,
I agree.
time off. You know, it's not just a woman thing, but it's all the talk is
But-
about the woman's body. And
Yeah, you and I as
your choice is to use birth control.
you and I as middle class Americans, which is what the Republicans are trying to do away with. Orange, please. If you and I as middle class Americans can sit here and talk about this, but if you're a black female who has no money because your pimp's taking it all, and all of a sudden, you become pregnant by accident or whatever, it's a whole different life.
You better be careful blaming that just on a black woman.
Oh, I'm not blaming it on just on black women.
No, that's what
Well, you kind of went to the black lady and the pimp. That was a little.
Yeah, but I'll get an email about
you
that.
got a little, shall I say, off color on that one.
I'll get a lot of email about that.
It don't matter.
But let's just call it lower society.
I just told you can go down to Planned Parenthood and they'll give you free prophylactics. And if you're a prostitute, you have access
and Planned
to
Parenthood.
prophylactics.
Isn't that what Planned Parenthood should be doing?
What?
Giving out prophylactics and advice and sex advice and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so you can plan parenthood.
Exactly.
I'm not ready to be a parent right now, so I need a little help with birth control.
Yep.
Not just come on down and exit the problem. There has to be.
I'm just not sure.
Educated on so many things.
I am just not sure that the state.
You got kids that can't read a clock, and we want these kids to be smart enough to go use the things that are in front of them to help them, but we can't read a clock. There's no education. Our education is, hey, if you want to be a cat today, you're allowed to be a cat today. That's sexual education in the United States fucking schools. It's bullshit.
I'm not. You describing that makes me wonder if the state. You've got more faith in the states than I would have ever had. I don't. These states, as far as right and wrong, are on a whole different level than what the feds are. If you put
Do you trust them?
I didn't say I trust them, but I trust them to put something in place that would be.
Really? Have you listened to any of these fuckers?
You're
Nancy Pelosi's going to put something in place.
You're misconstruing
Really?
me now. I would let's leave the current races, the current political races out of this for a minute. Who do you think would be more prone to getting a lot more action, the state or the federal government? when it comes to something like you got a lot more faith in the state than I would have then.
The state.
The state of Ohio,
The state
with this idiot governor that we've got is going to take and tell you.
Listen, you told me we're taking politics out of it. You told me we're taking politics.
Well,
hey, I don't like the guy either. But you said we're taking politics out of it. And a lot of this stuff goes to votes to the people of that individual state.
Well,
so that the people can choose
all right,
how they
do
think.
You think the people of this state could take and decide what they want? Well, maybe they could, but I'll bet it'd be more along party lines than you'd ever believe.
It would be like that in any state.
Well,
I mean, party lines are going to come up, but I mean, you're telling me not to speak of current people in office.
Yeah, let's leave that out. Say we're in Wisconsin.
All right.
Which is I don't know. I don't even know what the politics are up there, to be honest about it. I know, but well, let's make this a little worse. Let's put it in Nebraska. Nebraska's out in the middle of nowhere. You've got a bunch of farmers out there that are all Catholics and all Christians and Bible carriers and everything else. Do you think they're going to do what's fair for their people out there? Do you think they're going to vote fair for that? I don't think so. It would be the same way in a lot of these swing states and that, even down through the South and all. When you start mixing stuff like that and politics, or stuff like Christianity and politics, which is another thing that I don't particularly agree with on a certain Republican. You start intermixing this stuff, and all of a sudden you're coming up with rules that the forefathers of this country never intended to happen.
No, well, you're right, because back when our forefathers were here, if you got pregnant, you had a child and you raised it.
Yep.
That was the way it was back then. So that's what our forefathers said. You had a child, you raised it.
And
if you went out and you got yourself pregnant,
and that was fair for them.
You raised your child.
And that was fair for them at that time. But you think that would
but now it's different. Well, then why are you referring to our forefathers if you don't like what our forefathers had to say?
It was just an example.
You just busted yourself.
It was just an example.
Completely. You went down a wrong road there.
It was just you have a tendency to misconstrue me a lot of times,
What is there to misconstrue? You said, do you think our forefathers expected blah, 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 blah? And you proceeded.
Then you took us back to where we were living right like that.
That's why our forefathers didn't put an abortion law in place, because they didn't need to. Because our forefathers, what they thought and what they expected of people was being followed. Now, all of a sudden, everybody is taking the forefathers, the Bible, common sense, and throwing it out the window, to where we got guys beating up girls in the Olympics. We got people taking shits in a litter box. We got people just running down and getting free willy abortions. We got people burning down cities because that's a peaceful protest. And we got all these other things going on. Is that what our forefathers expected of us? No, not at all. We've gone down a bad road.
Oh, I believe. I'll tell you that much.
Plain and simple. We've gone down a bad road.
I'll agree with you on that point.
That is, our forefathers are rolling over in their graves, watching us today. I mean, they're completely appalled at the way we're acting.
Do you think back in the times of the 1950s, if anybody from the 1950s saw us today, anybody like, let's take JFK or Eisenhower or Taft. Do you think if they saw what this country has turned into today, they'd be appalled? And this shit's just getting out of control. Plain and simple.
You're right, but
It's all out of
what
control.
you're failing to see is a lot of this is due to liberal ideas.
But the whole
All
thing,
these things that
wait
you don't
a
like
minute.
are liberal ideas.
You
don't
can't
hear a
just
bunch
blame,
of Republicans
you can't
telling
blame
you to
this
go
just on the
shit in a
liberals.
litter box.
You can't
Do you?
blame this on just the liberals. The Republicans have had a lot of bullshit in the past too.
Oh, I ain't saying they're perfect,
Oh,
but a lot of this shit
and
going on
when
today
you start
is
taking,
coming from your
I
own
wasn't
party.
going to bring this up, but when you start taking stuff from that, what is it, Article 25 or whatever, which is Christian and Catholic and religious related, and throwing it in Trump and saying, "Here, we're going to put this in place when you get in," and he said, "Yeah, I'm reading this. Okay, that's fine." Let's talk about that a minute.
I have no information on Article 25.
Oh, all right.
Feel free to fill me in.
We'll do this with the next show. Article
Okay.
25 was actually written by somebody out in
I have heard about it. Don't get me wrong.
the southwestern states, and it was started. It was supposed to be written as the Republican platform, and the stuff that's in that, Dale, is unfucking believable. It has stuff about how we're going to take and turn everything into Christians. We're going to put a complete abortion ban no matter what across all the United States. It's going to do this, it's going to do that, and the other thing. And Trump, even Trump is saying, I never agreed to that. But when he gets in, he's made statements about it saying, oh, if you're a Christian, just vote for me this time. You won't ever have to vote again. We talked about that last week, or the last time we were on. You won't ever have to vote again. What he's saying is, I'm going to put this Christian doctrine in, and you won't ever have to vote again. It ain't going to matter anyway. So where do we make the turn here?
So, as a Eucharistic minister, you have a problem with Christian doctrine?
The extreme Christian doctrine, yes.
Extreme, I can see where you come from.
And that's exactly.
Like I said, I'll have to see what this is all about.
All right,
but we do say one nation under God. A lot of people don't like to say
wait
that
a minute.
pledge.
From the Pilgrims out, there's always been separation of church and state. That's what this nation was formed on. There has always been separation of church and state. And to take and put
Maybe
church,
that's the problem.
and then take and put church and state going like this, bullshit.
Maybe
That's not
the problem.
That's not what this country was formed on.
You don't think half the problem with our country is the lack of Christianity within it? Listen, I'm not your Bible belt, Bible winger. Hell, Lord, I didn't even.
That's
go to
what
church
they
yet.
want to put in there. That's what.
I'm not.
That's
bro,
what
I'm
they're.
not-
That's the kind of stuff they're wanting to put in there, and it's not going. I just don't see how it would work.
You can't pray at school. You can't say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. You can't do anything. And then they're going after this. I want to say it's in Florida, where they're wanting the Bible to be taught in school, not in a religious sense, but teaching the children about the book and what it is. And that's coming under fire.
Well,
but yet we can have transvestites.
well, you know who's going
Reindeer
against.
kids. We can shit in the fucking litter box. Yeah, I will keep bringing that up. And we can, keep doing all this other shit. Maybe the lack of God in this country is part of the problem.
I
A
don't.
major part of the problem.
When you start trying to put together church and state, you're gonna get into a whole bunch of issues.
You're right. You're right. You can't totally, because you can't have the church drilling down to people what they can and cannot do, blah blah
You
blah
can't
blah
have
blah.
them running a
Because
government either.
that is the major fall of Catholicism, and why a lot of people are leaning away from Catholicism is because of that type of temperament and attitude. And that's why you see a lot of people moving away from the old fire and brimstone stuff that was preached in most of the Protestant churches, because everybody was missing the boat, about what Jesus did and why he did it. And that's a whole different conversation. But yes, there needs to be a separation of church and state. I get you on that. Because you don't want to have a national religion or anything like that. But by golly, if you can't sit here and tell me more people in this world, in this nation alone, need to find Jesus and find a reason to be better people, then you're just plumb crazy.
I to a point I agree with you. To a point. I'm not sure how far it would even have to go. I'm not. I myself think that it would be there'd be a real problem. You'd probably turn into an Islamic state by the time it was over, and nobody wants to go there. Personally, I think I've stated this before. I am a Catholic. I'm cradle Catholic. I was born and baptized within probably 2 or 3 months of being born. I think I was born. I was born at the end of September, and I was baptized in December. So that tells you a little bit about myself as far as my beliefs. But as a free thinking human being,
Actually, no, that doesn't. That doesn't tell us anything about your beliefs.
as a free thinking,
You were a baby that was baptized when you didn't even know
but I was
why that was going on.
I was
Doesn't really tell us what your beliefs
I
are.
was brought up with the beliefs of most of the Catholic religion. My mother was not a wasn't a Bible thumper or anything like that, but I was taught right and wrong. I went to Catholic school for a couple of years, and they tried to drill it into me, and then did a halfway decent job. But the whole thing comes down to is I follow a lot of the beliefs of the Catholic Church. I believe in Christ. I believe in the Trinity and all that. But when it comes to some of the stuff that is none of their business, then it's another story. I'm a free-thinking human being. I'm allowed to have make my own decisions, just like you are, Dale.
Also, now you're a Protestant in Catholic's clothing. Because you don't agree with everything you're being told.
Well, you don't agree with everything.
Which is why the Protestant church was formed.
You don't agree with everything you've been
wrong.
told in the church either.
Oh,
You don't agree with everything you've been told in your church. Otherwise, you'd be carrying a Bible with you.
Oh, in the church that I'm in right now?
Yeah.
The church that I belong to, and I'm going to be honest, I don't attend as much as I should. But I'm one of those people that never forgets what I learned. And no, the Bible thumping and the fire and brimstone that was taught to me as a child has been changed when I actually got into a church that teaches the Bible, and everything comes from Scripture. If it's in the Bible, then they believe it. So basically, I guess if you want to call them Bible thumpers, you can. But if it's written in the Bible, that's what they follow. If there's something crazy in the world that comes up, like say abortion or this or that or whatever, they go to the Bible and they look at Scripture and they see what the Scripture says. And if it doesn't say anything against or for or whatever, then they give us the opinions that way. But everything is followed by the Bible.
But do
See,
you
I was always told that the Bible told me a whole lot of things that the Bible doesn't tell you.
do you believe everything that your church believes?
If it's in the Bible, yes. And have I?
But what if it's a church rule? What if it's a church rule
What if it's church rule?
that's been?
I haven't had one come. There is only one that I disagreed with since I've been at that church. There's only one I disagreed with, but have changed my tune on it. And that was because I grew up in an old-fashioned Baptist church. Okay. That's where I got the fire and brimstone with a female pastor. And our church does not allow females to be in major roles in the church and I disagreed with that. That was one thing I was strictly against. And then all of a sudden there was a sermon that went through scripture after scripture after scripture after scripture after scripture, explaining why that is. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess I was wrong. But now my church has also noticed that there was a thing that they were doing wrong. So we now allow deaconesses in the church. So you can be a deacon as a female, but you're not going to be a pastor, because of, biblically speaking, what it says in the Bible. So once I said, okay, it comes straight from the Bible. It's not people's opinion. It's not people being a-holes. It comes straight from the Bible. Then I'm okay with it. But then they found a place where they were in fault and they immediately corrected it. And I have to respect that. So that's kind of where I'm at with, that.
Well, you know what the history is pretty much of the Catholic Church.
Oh, I know a lot of the history of the Catholic Church.
At one point, they were up until Vatican II, which was in the 1950s. It took them like 10 years to go with a complete set of changes in the Catholic stuff. Used to be you always had, in order to be a good Catholic, I had to eat meat on Friday, or I couldn't eat meat on Friday. I had to have fish, or anything that wasn't anything meat. It was either fish or like cheese and or macaroni and cheese or something like that. And for several years, my family.
You talking during Lent or always?
Always. It was always.
Okay.
In Vatican II. In fact, I think they changed the rules in '62, I believe. But it was at one point you had to eat meat you couldn't eat meat on Friday. And because of that, you got sick of eating fish. Can you imagine one meal a week being fish? Anyway, they decided that because of some of the feelings of parishioners, this was worldwide, and that they didn't want to see famine or anything like that, they decided to do away with the rule. And some people, even to this day, that are Catholic, still do the fish on Friday thing. Then they all of a sudden they changed it to, well, it's only Lent. Like you only have to do that during Lent, and because it's Lent, and that you can you're actually fasting, or you're giving something up in the. Oh, wait a second! I gotta turn that down. You're actually giving something up, as far as a fast, and you're doing it for God, or
Why?
you're doing it for the Lord. You're fasting
Why?
because He gave up His life for you. You can give Him something small. That's
You lost the whole point.
That was the
You've lost the whole point there.
That was the thinking back then. You did it as a fast for.
All right, hold on. Let me reteach you Lent right quick.
Hang on a second.
Lent.
I got to do something here. Hang on.
I'm gonna take you back to Catholic school.
You ain't gonna take.
I'm gonna take you back. The purpose of Lent and why you give up something, or you sacrifice something, or you eat the fish, is in memory of the 40 days.
Yeah, I know that.
Spent in the wilderness.
And he didn't eat.
Fasting before he went into Jerusalem.
Yep, he didn't eat.
So, like I've always said, everybody says you want to be more like Jesus. Well, I can't go 40 days without eating. So I just eat what I want to.
I can't go 40 minutes.
In the Catholic religion, it's like, hey, just have some fish on Friday, and that'll make you like Jesus. Well, no, it doesn't make you like Jesus, because none of us could ever be like Jesus. It's not going to happen. That's why Jesus is who he is, and we could never be Jesus. But, okay, there's your Lent explanation.
Okay.
Say thank you, people. Taught you a little more Bible. That's what I'm here for.
Anyway, I think I've had enough arguing with you for this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And we are coming up on, looks like about an hour and 10 minutes so far. Why don't we go ahead and close her up for this week, Dale? We can argue some more in a couple of weeks. Is anything changing as far as your schedule that I need to know
Not
about?
that I'm aware of at this point. I mean, I never know when I get my schedule in the middle of the week, so I never know when something might pop up that is on a Sunday. Now, I will tell you, as we get, I don't know how it's going to fall, as we get closer to Labor Day, there will, like Labor Day weekend or whatever, there probably will be a Sunday involved. I don't know if that's going to interfere with what we do or not. But that I'm pretty sure about, because that's usually like a 3-day Saturday, Sunday, Monday kind of thing.
You don't think it'll be a Monday?
Huh?
You don't think it'll be a Monday?
No, it's usually Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
But the catch is, the one we ran into in previous years, we didn't have an evening thing. It was like a luncheon, and we were done by 3-4 o'clock. So that wasn't an issue. I don't know what they're doing this year. So if our dates should fall in there, until that schedule comes out. I really won't.
Just keep me posted. We'll just continue.
Will do. I mean, I got
every couple of weeks.
Once
here.
my guy gets, the function sheets and stuff, I can peek ahead.
Okay, well, that's not really a problem either way. The argument thing is always kind of fun with you. But anyway, we will go ahead and wrap things up here for tonight. Thanks everybody for listening and tuning in and watching and whatever. Hope you enjoyed our show. And we will see you in a couple of weeks. Next week will be Eric and Nanosecond are planning on coming back next week. So his show will be next Tuesday or next Monday at 8 o'clock. Or as close as we can make it to that. And then we'll of course be back 2 weeks from now with another argument. So with that, I will go ahead and pull the plug here as soon as I can find the plug.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
And that's why we do this show. Have a good week, everybody.
I'm going to peek.